Amelia gripped her mother's hand as they walked through the wet streets of a bustling city. The rain had started again, and her sneakers already had holes that let in the cold water. Her stomach rumbled loudly because they had only eaten bread with margarine all day. "My daughter, I need you to be very brave," said Valeria, stopping in front of a tall building that gleamed with golden lights. "We are going to see a very important person." "Is he the one who will help us with the rent?" Amelia asked, wiping her nose with the sleeve of her torn coat. Valeria did not answer. She just looked up, counting the floors until she reached the top one. On the 32nd floor lived Alexander, the most powerful man she had ever known, the man who did not know he had a daughter. Meanwhile, 30 floors above, Alexander finished reviewing his company's numbers. The month's profits had been excellent. He poured himself another imported whiskey and stood in front of the panoramic window that showed the entire city. From up there, the city lights looked like small, sparkling dots. People looked like ants walking down the avenues. His phone rang. It was Robert, his partner. "Have you seen the reports? We are unstoppable, brother. Next year, we will be the richest in the whole state." "Yes, I know," Alexander replied, taking a sip of whiskey. "Money attracts money." Alexander hung up and returned to his desk. He was 35 years old and had built a real estate empire. He could buy whatever he wanted, go wherever he wished, meet whomever, but his penthouse apartment felt empty. He was always alone. Downstairs at the building's front desk, Valeria explained to the doorman that she needed to speak with Mr. Alexander. "Ma'am, it's late. Mr. Alexander does not receive unscheduled visitors," the doorman said, looking at her wet clothes with disdain. "Please, tell him I'm Valeria. He knows me. It's very important." "Valeria." The doorman checked a list. "You are not on the authorized contacts list." Amelia approached the doorman's desk and looked at him with her big, sad eyes. "Sir, my mum is very sick. We just want to talk to Mr. Alexander for 5 minutes." The doorman softened a bit when he saw the girl. He picked up the phone and dialed the penthouse. "Mr. Alexander, I apologize for the inconvenience. There's a lady here who says her name is Valeria. She has a small child with her and says it's urgent." Alexander almost choked on his whiskey. Valeria. He had not heard that name in 7 years. The memories came all at once, their laughter, their affection, the night they went to his apartment together after meeting at a bar. It had only been a one-night stand. She worked at a clothing store in the mall, and he was just starting his business. "Valeria," Alexander repeated, feeling his heart race. "They can come up, 32nd floor." The doorman hung up and looked at them in surprise. "You can go up, floor 32. In the elevator, Amelia asked, "Mom, why are your eyes red?" "It's nothing, my love. I'm just tired." But Valeria knew it wasn't fatigue. It was the disease that was killing her from the inside. The doctors had told her she only had a few weeks left. She did not have the money for private treatment, and she had no family to take care of Amelia. There was only one option left, her daughter's father. The elevator stopped with a soft sound. The doors opened, and Amelia saw the most elegant hallway of her life. The walls had beautiful paintings, and the floor shone like a mirror. Alexander opened the door before they could knock. When he saw Valeria, he felt as if only 5 minutes had passed since the last time. She was still beautiful, but she was very thin and pale. Then he looked at the girl beside her. She had brown hair like Valeria, but something about her face was familiar. Her eyes, her nose, the shape of her mouth. "Hi, Alexander," Valeria said in a trembling voice. "I'd like you to meet your daughter." Alexander stood motionless in the doorway. Valeria's words echoed in his head like an echo that wouldn't stop. "I'd like you to meet your daughter." The girl looked at him with curiosity, not understanding why the elegant man had become so pale. "My, what?" Alexander managed to say, leaning on the doorframe. "Her name is Amelia. She is 6 years old." Alexander quickly did the math in his head. 6 years ago, he had been with Valeria. Just one night. They had drunk a lot of wine, laughed, and ended up in his bed. The next day, she had left. Early, and he had never seen her again. This is impossible. You never told me anything. I didn't because I didn't want to ruin your life, Valeria replied, carrying Amelia in her arms. You had big dreams. You were starting your company. A baby would only get in the way. But I had the right to know. Amelia was startled by the scream and hid her face in her mother's neck. Lower your voice, please, Valeria begged. I don't want her to be more scared than she already is. Alexander took a deep breath and stepped aside to let them in. His penthouse had never received such small visitors. Everything was designed to impress wealthy clients. Italian leather furniture, expensive works of art, a spectacular view of the city. Amelia walked slowly, touching everything carefully as if she might break it. Do you live here alone? The girl asked. It's too big for just one person. Yes, I live alone, Alexander replied, not knowing how to talk to a child. Valeria sat down in the nearest armchair. She looked exhausted, as if walking all that way had cost her a lot of effort. Would you like something to drink? Water? Coffee? Alexander offered, still processing the situation. Water is fine for Amelia too, please. Alexander went to the kitchen with his hands trembling. As he poured the glasses, he heard Amelia ask her mother, Is this man my real dad? Yes, my love. He is your father. Why did he never come to see us? Because he didn't know you existed. Alexander returned with the glasses of water and sat in front of them, studying Amelia's face. Now that he saw her up close, the similarities were undeniable. She had the same chin, the same thick eyebrows, even the same way of frowning when she was thinking. How can I be sure? Alexander asked. Valeria took some folded papers out of her purse. Here is the birth certificate. I put your name as the father. If you want, we can do a DNA test. Alexander took the papers with trembling hands. There it was. Amelia, date of birth, March 15th, 2018. Father, Alexander. Why are you coming now? He asked, looking up. After 6 years. Valeria lowered her eyes. Amelia was playing with a crystal ornament on the coffee table, oblivious to the adults' conversation. Because I am dying, Alexander. The words fell like a hammer in the silence of the penthouse. What? Pancreatic cancer, very advanced. The doctors say I have a few weeks left, maybe a month if I'm lucky. Alexander felt the world collapse on him. Not only had he just discovered he had a daughter, but she was about to become an orphan. And what do you want me to do? He asked, although he already knew the answer. That you take care of her, that you be her father. I have no one else. My family died years ago, and I have no siblings. You are all she has. Amelia stopped playing and looked at the adults. Something in the atmosphere had changed. Mom, why are you crying? It's nothing, my love. I'm just talking to your father about important things. Alexander got up and walked to the window. The city continued to sparkle below, indifferent to the drama unfolding on the 32nd floor. His perfectly organized life had just exploded into 1,000 pieces. I don't know anything about children, he said without turning around. I don't know how to be a father. No one knows how to be a father until they are, Valeria replied. But you are smart, you have resources, you can give her everything I never could. And if I say no, then I will have to look for an adoptive family before it's too late. Alexander turned and saw Amelia, who was watching him with those big, confident eyes. He did not know what to do, but one thing was certain. His life would never be the same again. Can I stay here tonight? Amelia asked, interrupting the heavy silence that had fallen over the room. Mum said your house is very safe. Alexander looked at Valeria, seeking an explanation. We have nowhere to stay tonight, Valeria admitted, lowering her voice. We were evicted from the apartment yesterday. I couldn't pay the rent for 3 months. Where did you sleep last night? In a friend's car, but she can't help us anymore. Alexander ran his hands through his hair. His orderly life was turning into total chaos, but when he saw the girl, he felt something strange in his chest, a mixture of responsibility and something he could not identify. "Okay, you can stay tonight," he finally said. "I have a guest room." Amelia clapped her hands and ran toward him. "Thank you, Daddy." The word daddy hit him like a lightning bolt. It was the first time someone had called him that, and he did not know if he liked it or if he was panicking. "Amelia, don't bother Mr. Alexander," Valeria scolded. "But you said he was my daddy." "Yes, but it's okay," Alexander interrupted. "She can call me daddy if she wants." Valeria smiled with gratitude. It was the first genuine smile he had seen on her all night. Alexander led them to the guest room. It was an elegant but cold room, with a king-size bed and modern furniture. Amelia jumped onto the bed and started bouncing. "It's so soft, like the beds in the hotels on TV." "Be careful, my daughter," Valeria said, but it was clear that she was also impressed with the room. "Are you hungry?" Alexander asked. "I can order some food." "Can we order pizza?" Amelia asked with sparkling eyes. "I've never had pizza before." Alexander laughed, despite everything. It was the first time he had laughed since they arrived. "Sure, pizza." While they waited for the food, Amelia explored the penthouse with curiosity. She touched everything carefully, as if it were a museum. When she reached the piano that Alexander never played, she pressed a key, and the sound echoed through the room. "Do you know how to play the piano?" she asked. "I learned when I was a kid, but I don't practice anymore. Can you teach me?" "I don't know. Maybe." Valeria watched them from the armchair. For the first time in months, Amelia seemed happy, truly happy. When the pizza arrived, they ate in the elegant black marble dining room. Amelia tried to eat carefully, but the sauce dripped down her chin. Alexander passed her a napkin, and for a moment, their eyes met. Amelia's eyes were exactly like his when he was a child. "What do you do for a living, Daddy?" Amelia asked between bites. "I buy and sell buildings, houses too. Like the houses where poor people live." The question caught him off guard. Alexander had never thought of his tenants as poor people. For him, they were just numbers in reports. All kinds of houses, for all kinds of people, Amelia. After dinner, Valeria helped Amelia take a bath in the gigantic bathroom, which had a separate tub and shower. Amelia screamed with excitement because there was soap that smelled like flowers and towels softer than anything she had ever touched. Meanwhile, Alexander called Robert. "Robert, it's Alexander. I need you to cancel all. My meeting's for tomorrow." "Are you crazy?" Robert said. "You have the presentation with the Japanese investors." "I have a family emergency." "Family? You don't have family?" Alexander looked toward the room where he could hear Amelia's laughter. "Now I do," he said. When Amelia came out of the bath, she was wearing one of Alexander's shirts as pajamas. It was huge on her, but she seemed content. "Can you tell me a story?" she asked. "I don't have storybooks. I don't have any children's books." "You can make one up." Alexander felt lost. He didn't know how to make up stories. His life had only been numbers, contracts, and money. "What do you want it to be about?" "About a girl who finds her daddy and they live in a castle." Valeria was lying on the bed, very pale, but smiling as she listened. Alexander sat on the edge of the bed and began to make up a story about a princess who lived in a small house with her mother, until one day she met a king who lived in a very tall castle. The princess discovered that the king was her father, and together they learned to be a family. When he finished, Amelia was already asleep. Valeria had tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Alexander left the room and poured himself another whiskey. He stood in front of the window, looking at the city. For the first time in years, his penthouse did not feel empty. The next day, Alexander woke up to the sound of dishes in the kitchen. For a moment, he forgot what had happened the night before. Then he heard a child's laughter, and everything came back to him like an avalanche. He put on a robe and walked to the kitchen. Valeria was making scrambled eggs, while Amelia sat on one of the tall chairs at the counter, swinging her legs. "Good morning," Alexander said, feeling strange in his own home. "Good morning, Daddy," Amelia shouted. "Mum is making eggs. Do you have any milk?" "We couldn't find any milk in your fridge." Alexander opened the fridge and realized there was almost no food. Just a few bottles of mineral water, white wine, and leftover Chinese food. "I don't usually eat breakfast at home," he explained. "I always eat at restaurants." "Every day?" Amelia asked with wide eyes. "Don't you get tired of it?" "No, I never thought about it." Valeria served the eggs on 3 plates. She looked better than the night before, although she was still very thin. "Alexander, we need to talk about important things," she said, sitting next to Amelia. "About the future." "What kind of things?" Valeria took a yellow folder from her purse. "Legal papers so you can be Amelia's official guardian when I am no longer here." Alexander swallowed hard. He had been trying not to think about that part. "What do I need to do?" "First, the DNA test so everything is legal. Then you have to sign documents that give you full custody." "And if I don't want to?" he asked, although he already knew he wanted to, at least a little bit. Amelia stopped eating and looked at the two of them with concern. "You don't want me, Daddy?" Alexander's heart broke at the sight of the girl's sad face. "That's not it, Amelia. It's just very complicated for adults." "Why?" "Because your father has a very busy life," Valeria explained. "He has a big company, he travels a lot, he works very late. But dads can work too. My friend Camilla's dad works and comes home for dinner every night." Alexander did not know what to say. He had never thought about having a normal life with normal hours, with family dinners. After breakfast, they went to a private laboratory. Alexander paid extra for the results to be ready in 24 hours. While they waited, Amelia amused herself by watching the fish in an aquarium. "Does it hurt?" she asked when she saw they would have to draw blood from her. "Just a little prick," the nurse said. "You are very brave." Amelia did not cry when they drew her blood. She just squeezed Alexander's hand tightly. In the afternoon, Alexander had to go to the office for some important meetings. He left Valeria and Amelia at the penthouse, but he could not concentrate. Every 5 minutes, he thought about what they might be doing. "Are you okay?" Robert asked during a meeting. "You seem distracted." "I'm fine." "Are you sure? Because the Japanese investors noticed you weren't paying attention." Alexander looked at his cell phone. Valeria had sent a photo of Amelia drawing on a piece of paper. The drawing showed 2 figures, one large and one small, holding hands. "I have to go," Alexander said, getting up from the table. "What, Alexander? We have 3 more meetings." "Cancel them!" When he arrived at the penthouse, he found Amelia asleep on the big sofa with crayons scattered across the table. Valeria was in the kitchen preparing tea. "How was your day?" Alexander asked. "Good," Valeria said. "Amelia drew a lot. She said she wants to decorate your house with her drawings." Alexander looked at the drawings. There were houses with gardens, smiling families, a dog running, everything he had never had. "Valeria, I need to ask you something." "You can ask." "Why didn't you look for me before?" "Seriously? Why did you wait until now?" Valeria was silent for a moment. "Because I was afraid you would say no. And also, I was proud. I thought I could raise her alone." "And were you able to in the first years?" "Yes. I worked 2 jobs. Amelia stayed at daycare, but when I got sick, I lost my jobs. The savings ran out. The last few months have been very difficult." Alexander felt a pang of guilt. While he was becoming a millionaire, his daughter had been living in poverty. "I'm sorry. If I had known..." "Don't apologize. You didn't know," Valeria said. "But now you know, and you have the opportunity to be the father she needs." That night, while Amelia slept, Alexander stayed awake thinking. His life was about to change forever. The question was he ready for this change? The next day, Alexander received the Call from the laboratory at 10 in the morning. His hands trembled as he dialed the number to hear the results. Mr. Alexander, we have the paternity test results ready. The probability of you being the biological father is 99.9%. Alexander hung up the phone and sat in his office for several minutes. There was no longer any doubt. Amelia was his daughter. Valeria was in the kitchen teaching Amelia how to make tapioca when he arrived with the papers in his hand. Are those the results? Valeria asked. Yes, he said. It's official. I am her father. Amelia ran towards him and hugged his legs. I already knew, she said. We have the same eyes. Alexander picked her up for the first time. She was lighter than he expected and hugged his neck with total confidence. Does this mean I can tell everyone I have a dad now? Amelia asked. Yes, my love, Valeria replied, wiping away a tear. You can tell everyone now. That afternoon they went to see the lawyer Valeria had contacted. Her name was Dr. Ruiz, and she had a small but organized office downtown. Mr. Alexander, I need to explain what it means to be a legal guardian, the lawyer said, opening a thick folder. It's not just about providing a house and food. It's about making all the important decisions. School, doctors, everything. Do you understand? Are you prepared for this? To change your lifestyle? Alexander looked at Amelia, who was playing with some toys in a corner of the office. I'm learning. I also need to ask about your financial situation. Can you support a child? Alexander almost laughed. That was the easiest part. Yes, I have no financial problems. The lawyer checked his bank statements and whistled softly. You definitely have no financial problems. Very well, let's proceed. As they signed the papers, Amelia approached Alexander. What are you doing, Daddy? I'm signing papers that say I'm going to take care of you forever and ever and ever. Amelia smiled and went back to playing. That night, after putting Amelia to sleep, Valeria and Alexander sat on the penthouse terrace. The city sparkled below them like a sea of lights. Do you regret it? Valeria asked. Regret what? All this? Us showing up in your life? Alexander thought about the answer. 3 days ago, his biggest concern was whether he would make more money that month. Now he was wondering what school would be best for Amelia and if he knew how to cook anything besides eggs. No, he finally said. I don't regret it, but your life is going to change a lot. It's already changing. Yesterday I cancelled 3 meetings to get home early. I've never done that before. Valeria laughed. Just wait until she starts school. You'll have to go to parent meetings, festivals, school plays. School plays? Amelia loves to act. Last year she played a tree in a play about the environment. A tree? Yes. She stood still for 20 minutes. It was the best tree performance I've ever seen. They both laughed. It was the first time they had laughed together since she had arrived. Alexander, I need to ask you one more thing. What is it? When I'm no longer here, I don't want you to tell her that it was my fault for not looking for you before. I did what I thought was best at the time. I would never say that. On the contrary, I think you were very brave raising her alone all this time. Really, I would not have known what to do with a baby when I was 28 years old. I was obsessed with making money. And now? Alexander looked toward the living room, where Amelia had left her crayons and drawings scattered everywhere. His perfect penthouse was no longer perfect, and strangely, it did not bother him. Now I think there are things more important than money. The next day, Alexander did something he had never done before. He called his assistant and said he would not be coming to the office. Are you sick, Mr. Alexander? No, I'm going to take my daughter to see the city. Your daughter? I didn't know you had a daughter. I didn't either until 3 days ago. Alexander, Valeria, and Amelia spent the day visiting parks, museums, and they even went to the zoo. Amelia was so excited about the monkeys that Alexander bought her a stuffed monkey that cost more than many people earned in a week. That night, while Amelia showed the stuffed monkey all her drawings, Alexander realized that he had smiled more in one day than in the entire previous year. His life was changing, and for the first time, the change did not scare him. A week later, Valeria had to go to the hospital for her treatments. Alexander was alone with Amelia for the first time, and panic washed over him when she started crying at the door. "I don't want Mum to leave," Amelia screamed, clinging to Valeria's dress. "It's only for a few hours, my love," Valeria said, but it was clear that it was also difficult for her to leave. "What if you don't come back?" "I'll come back, I promise." Alexander did not know what to do. He had never comforted a crying child before. "Amelia," he said, kneeling down to her level, "how about, while Mom is at the doctor, you and I do something fun?" "Like what?" she asked between sobs. "I don't know what you like to do." "I like to paint, watch movies, and eat ice cream." "Perfect. We'll do all three." After Valeria left, Alexander took Amelia to buy art supplies. He had never been to a toy store and was surprised by how many things there were. Amelia wanted to touch everything. "Can I get these crayons, and this paint, and these brushes?" "You can get whatever you want." The saleswoman smiled when she saw Alexander carrying 3 bags full of art supplies. "First time shopping for your daughter?" she asked. "Does it show?" "Kind of, but it looks like you're having fun." Back at the penthouse, Alexander spread newspaper on the living room floor so Amelia could paint without worry. She put on one of his shirts as an apron and began to create. "What are you painting?" Alexander asked, sitting next to her. "A house, but not a normal house," she said. "A magical house where dads, mums, and children live and never get sick." Alexander felt a lump in his throat. "Do you want me to help?" "Yes. You paint the sky, and I'll paint the house." Alexander picked up a brush for the first time since elementary school. At first, his strokes were clumsy, but little by little he began to relax. When they finished, they had paint on their hands, their clothes, and even their faces. "We're all dirty," Amelia laughed. "The lady who cleans your house won't get mad? She's not coming until tomorrow," Alexander said. "Besides, I can clean it myself." "You know how to clean?" Alexander realized that he had never cleaned his own house. He had always had maids for that. "I'll learn." After cleaning, or trying to clean, they ordered pizza and sat down to watch a princess movie. Alexander had never seen an animated film and was surprised that it was actually fun. "Why can't the princess be with the prince?" he asked. "Because her parents won't let her, but they'll get together in the end. It always happens that way in princess movies." "How do you know?" "Because I've seen a lot of them. Mom says all princesses find their happy ending." When Valeria returned from the hospital, she found Alexander and Amelia asleep on the sofa with the TV still on. Amelia was curled up against Alexander's chest, and he had a protective arm around her. For the first time in months, Valeria felt peace. Amelia was going to be okay. The following days were about adapting. Alexander began to change his routine. He got up earlier to have breakfast with Amelia. He came home to have lunch with them, and at night read made-up stories. His employees noticed the change. "Boss, the American investors want a video conference at 8 at night," Robert said. "I can't. I read stories at 8. "Stories? It's Amelia's bedtime. They can wait until tomorrow." Robert was speechless. Alexander had never put anything before business. One night, while Alexander was making up a story about a good dragon that helped lost children, Amelia interrupted him. "Daddy, yes? Are you going to keep being my daddy when Mom goes to heaven?" Alexander felt his throat tighten. Amelia knew. Somehow she knew what was going to happen. "Yes, Amelia, I will always be your daddy. And you won't leave me in an orphanage?" "Never. This is your home, now and forever." Amelia smiled and closed her eyes. "Then it's okay. I'm not scared." Alexander sat by the bed until he was sure she was sound asleep. Then he went to the living room where Valeria was knitting a small scarf. "Did you hear?" he asked. "I did. Thank you for saying that, for making her feel safe. It's the truth. I won't abandon her." Valeria looked up from her knitting. "You know, I think she's going to be a very lucky girl." "I am the lucky one," Alexander replied. And for the first time, he truly felt it. 2 weeks later, Valeria could no longer get out of bed. Alexander had hired a private nurse, but Valeria insisted on spending her last days in the penthouse near Amelia. "I don't want her to remember me in a hospital," she had told Alexander. "I want her to remember me here, where we were happy." Alexander had transformed the living room into a makeshift suite. He bought a hospital bed and placed it in front of the large window so that Valeria could see the city. Amelia spent the afternoons lying next to her mother, watching movies and eating popsicles. "My daughter, I need you to make me a promise," Valeria said one afternoon while Amelia was drawing in her new notebook. "What promise, Mom?" "That you will always be a good girl, that you will study hard and you will obey your daddy." "Yes, I promise. But why are you telling me this?" Valeria looked at Alexander, who was standing in the kitchen doorway listening. "Because mothers always want their children to be happy, even when we are not around. But you'll always be around. Daddy said this is our home now." "Yes, my love, this is your home." That night, after Amelia fell asleep, Valeria asked Alexander to sit next to her. "There are things I need to tell you before it's too late. You don't need to say anything, just rest." "I need to, yes, listen to me." Valeria took his hand with the little strength she had left. "Amelia is a very smart girl, but also very sensitive. When she's sad, she likes it when you tickle her feet. She calms down quickly. She hates vegetables, but if you mix them with cheese, she'll eat them. She loves princess stories, but she also likes adventure stories. And please, please, don't let her watch horror movies until she's at least 12 years old." "I won't." "One more thing. In my purse there's a letter I wrote for her. Give it to her when she turns 18, not before." "What does the letter say?" "Things a mother tells her daughter when she becomes a woman. Things I won't be able to say." Alexander felt his eyes fill with tears. "Valeria, I don't know if I'm going to be a good father." "You are already a good father. Look how Amelia has changed in these weeks. She's happy, she feels safe. That's all that matters. But what if I do something wrong? What if I don't know what to do when she's sad or sick?" "You'll learn. All parents learn as they go. Besides," Valeria smiled weakly, "you have something many parents don't have." "What?" "Enough money to pay for the best nanny in the world." The two of them laughed softly. "Seriously," Valeria continued, "find someone to take care of her when you have to work, someone affectionate who likes to be with children." "I already have someone in mind," Alexander said. "My assistant gave me the number of a lady who took care of her children. Her name is Ms. Carmen." "Perfect." "And Alexander?" "Yes, thank you." "Why?" "For opening your doors to a girl you didn't know, for changing your life for her, for being a better man than I expected." Alexander squeezed her hand. "Thank you for bringing her to me, for giving me the opportunity to know her." The next day, Valeria slept almost all day. She only woke up when Amelia talked to her. "Mom, I drew a flower for you." "It's beautiful, my love. You can put it on the table so I can see it." At night, Alexander was checking emails on his laptop when he heard Amelia talking to her mother. "Mom, does it hurt?" "Sometimes it does, my daughter, but when I'm with you, it doesn't hurt at all. Are you going to get better?" Valeria was silent for a long moment. "No, my love, I'm not going to get better. But that doesn't mean we won't be together." "How?" "Because whenever you think of me, I will be here." Valeria placed Amelia's hand on her own heart. "In your heart, and when you miss me a lot, talk to your daddy and he'll give you hugs from me." "Daddy knows how to give hugs from you?" "I'll teach him." That night, Valeria died in her sleep. Alexander woke up at 5 in the morning when he heard Amelia calling for her. "Mom isn't waking up," Amelia said in a scared voice. Alexander approached the bed and knew immediately that Valeria was gone. He picked Amelia up and hugged her tightly. "Mom went to heaven, didn't she?" Amelia asked. "Yes, my love, she went to heaven." Amelia cried for the first time since she arrived at the penthouse. Alexander also cried for a brave woman who had given him the greatest gift of his life. 3 days after the funeral, Alexander found himself completely lost. He did not know how to explain to a 6-year-old child that her mother was never coming back. Amelia had stopped talking almost completely and was barely eating. "Don't you want cereal?" Alexander asked at breakfast, but Amelia just shook her head. "How about we make pancakes like Mum used to?" Amelia looked at him with tear-filled eyes. "You don't know how to make pancakes like Mum." She was right. Alexander did not know how to make pancakes, nor did he know how to comb her hair, nor did he know what clothes to dress her in. The last 3 days had been a disaster. That afternoon, he called Ms. Carmen. "Mr. Alexander, this is Carmen. Your assistant told me you need help with your girl." "Yes, I need help urgently." "Could you come today?" "Of course, I'll be there in an hour." Ms. Carmen was a 55-year-old woman with grey hair tied in a bun and a gentle smile. When she arrived, Amelia was sitting on the living room floor, watching television, not really paying attention. "Hello, beautiful," Ms. Carmen said, sitting on the floor next to her. "I was told you really like to draw." Amelia looked at her with curiosity, but did not say anything. "You know what? I like them too. Can you show me some of yours?" Amelia slowly got up and brought a pile of drawings. Ms. Carmen looked at them one by one, making genuine comments about each one. "This dog is very pretty. Is it from a movie?" "No," Amelia said softly. "It's the dog I want to have one day." "And what are you going to name him?" "Chocolate, because he's brown." Alexander watched from the kitchen, impressed. In 5 minutes, Ms. Carmen had gotten Amelia to talk more than she had in 3 days. "Mr. Alexander," Ms. Carmen said afterwards, "the girl is sad, but it's normal. She needs time and a lot of affection. I don't know how to give affection. I don't know how to be a father. No one is born knowing how. You learn day by day. Will you accept the job?" "I can. Pay you very well." "It's not about money, sir. It's about this girl needing stability. Are you sure you want to change your life for her?" Alexander looked toward the living room, where Amelia was coloring a new drawing. "I have never been so sure of anything in my life." "Then I accept." Ms. Carmen started working the next day. She arrived at 7 in the morning and stayed until Alexander returned from the office. But most importantly, she began to teach Alexander how to take care of Amelia. "Children need routine," she explained. "Breakfast at the same time, bath before bed, stories every night." "What if I don't have time for stories?" "Then make time. Stories are more important than any business meeting." Alexander began to change his hours, cancelled trips, delegated more responsibilities to Robert, and for the first time in his life, left the office before 6 in the afternoon. "You've gone crazy," Robert said. "We have the most important presentation of the year next week. You can handle it, I trust you. And if something goes wrong, then it goes wrong. There are things more important than money." Robert looked at him as if he had lost his mind. One night, while Alexander was reading a story about an adventurous mouse, Amelia interrupted him. "Daddy, yes. Are you also going to die?" The question hit him like a hammer. Alexander closed the book and looked his daughter in the eyes. "Someday, but not for many, many years, and when that happens, you will already be a grown woman with your own children. Do you promise me?" "I promise." Amelia snuggled against him. "And you'll never leave me alone?" "Never. I will always be here to take care of you. Even if I'm naughty, even if you're naughty. Even if I get bad grades, even if you get bad grades, even if I break something very expensive." Alexander laughed. "Even if you break something very expensive, although I hope you don't break anything very expensive." Amelia laughed too. It was the first time she had laughed since her mother died. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Princess." Alexander stayed awake that night, thinking. His life had changed completely in a month. He no longer woke up thinking about how much money he was going to make that day. He woke up thinking about whether she had slept well, if she was happy, if she needed anything. And for the first time in his life, he felt truly rich. Not because of the money in the bank, but because of the girl sleeping in the next room, who had chosen him as her father and who trusted him completely. Ms. Carmen was right. He was becoming a father day by day, and each day was better than the last. 5 years later, Alexander woke up on a Saturday morning to the sound of dishes in the kitchen and laughter. He put on a robe and went down the stairs of his new house, a house with a garden he had bought 3 years earlier. "Good morning, Daddy," shouted Amelia, who was now 11 years old and had grown a lot. "I'm making pancakes for everyone." "For everyone?" "Yes, for you, for me, for Lucia, and for Isabella. They're staying for breakfast." Alexander smiled. Lucia had gone from being the mother of Amelia's friend to becoming his girlfriend 2 years ago. Isabella and Amelia had practically become sisters. "Where's Lucia?" Alexander asked, kissing Amelia's head. "In the garden, watering the flowers we planted yesterday." Alexander went out to the backyard. It was a big garden with green grass, colorful flowers, and a mango tree they had planted in Valeria's honor. Lucia was watering the new roses, dressed in jeans and a simple t-shirt. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, hugging her from behind. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Perfectly. And you?" "Me too. Although Isabella woke up very early, she's excited about the party this afternoon." It was Amelia's 11th birthday, and they had organized a party in the garden with all her school friends. "Did you call Ms. Carmen yet?" Alexander asked. "Yes. She'll be here at 2 with the cake. She says it's a surprise, but Amelia already knows it's going to be in the shape of a book because she said she wants to be a writer when she grows up." Alexander laughed. His daughter changed her profession every month. Last month she wanted to be a veterinarian. Before that, she wanted to be a teacher, and before that, she wanted to be an astronaut. "Daddy," Amelia said, coming out into the garden with Chocolate, the golden retriever they had given her the previous year. "Can we open the presents now?" "Only after breakfast, Princess. First we eat breakfast all together. It's a tradition." Amelia sighed dramatically but laughed. At 11 years old, she had already learned that her father had clear rules, but he was also very affectionate. During breakfast, Isabella talked about the school play they were preparing. "Amelia is going to be the narrator," Isabella explained. "I'm going to play a tree, like your mum did," Alexander said to Amelia, remembering what Valeria had told him about school plays. "My mom was also a tree in a play?" "Yes. When she was your age, she told me it was the best tree performance in history." Amelia laughed. Alexander talked about Valeria often, always with affection and happiness. He did not want Amelia to forget her mother, but he also did not want her to grow up sad because of her absence. After breakfast, they opened the presents. Alexander had bought her a new laptop so she could write her stories. Ludaya gave her a box full of adventure books. Isabella gave her a friendship bracelet she had made herself. "Are you enjoying your special day so far?" Alexander asked Amelia as they prepared decorations for the party. "I love it. But Daddy, can I ask you for something?" "Anything you want. Can we go to the cemetery for a little while before my friends arrive? I want to take flowers to Mom and tell her about my birthday." Alexander felt a pang of emotion. Amelia visited Valeria's grave every month and always told her about the important things that were happening in her life. "Of course, let's go now." At the cemetery, Amelia placed fresh flowers on her mother's grave and sat on the grass. "Hi, Mum. Today I'm 11 years old. I'm pretty big now, aren't I? Daddy bought me a computer to write stories like you wanted, and Lucia is teaching me to cook your favorite recipes." Amelia paused. "Daddy is the best daddy in the world. He takes great care of me and has never left me alone, just like he promised. And I think you'd be happy to know that we are a bigger family now. Lucia and Isabella are part of our family too." Alexander wiped away a tear. After 5 years, he still got emotional when Amelia talked to her mother. "Okay, let's go now," Amelia said, getting up. "But I'll be back next month to tell you how the school play went." In the car, Amelia was pensive. "Daddy?" "Yes?" "Do you think Mom is proud of us?" Alexander looked at his daughter in the rearview mirror. She was beautiful, intelligent, kind, and happy. She had grown up surrounded by love and with all the opportunities in the world. I am absolutely sure she is very proud of you for being an incredible girl, and of me for having learned to be your father, he said, and of Lucia too, for having loved you as if you were her own daughter. That night, after all the guests had left and Isabella and Lucia had gone home, Alexander tucked Amelia into bed. "Was it the best birthday of your life?" he asked. "It was. But do you know what the best part is?" "What?" "That every day with you is like a birthday, because every day you make me feel special." Alexander kissed her forehead. "You are the most special thing in my life, princess." As he turned off the light, Alexander thought about everything that had changed since that rainy night when Amelia and Valeria knocked on his door. He had traded his penthouse for a house with a garden, his late-night meetings for family dinners, his business trips for school plays, and it had been the best trade of his life. His cell phone vibrated with a message from Lucia. "Thank you for a perfect day. I love you." Alexander smiled and replied, "Thank you for making our family complete. I love you both." He stood at the door of Amelia's room, watching her sleep. Tomorrow would be another day full of adventures, laughter, and the simple happiness of being a father. His love, care, and patience had only grown stronger with time. Epilogue. 10 years later, Amelia was in the garden of the house. She was now 21 years old, a journalism graduate and working for a magazine. Alexander, at 55, watched from the window as she played with Lucia's children. They had gotten married 5 years earlier. "Grandpa Alexander!" shouted little Peter, who was 4 years old. "Amelia is telling the story of how you two met." Alexander smiled. Amelia loved to tell that story to the children, always ending with, "And that's how I discovered that sometimes the best gifts come when we least expect them." Lucia approached him in the kitchen. "What are you thinking about?" "About how one rainy night changed everything," he said. "If Valeria hadn't shown up that night." "But they did. And look at what we've built." Alexander looked around. The house was full of laughter, drawings on the fridge, toys scattered everywhere, the happy noise of a real family. "Lucia, yes? Thank you for helping me raise our daughter." "Our daughter," Lucia repeated, smiling. "I like the sound of that." Outside, Amelia continued, "And do you know what the most important part of the story is? That a family's love doesn't come from blood. It comes from the choice to care, to be present, to never give up on each other." Alexander closed his eyes, and for a moment he felt as if Valeria was there too, smiling as she saw the incredible woman Amelia had become. His life had truly begun on that rainy night and continued to be extraordinary every day. The end. This story teaches us that true love can completely transform our lives, and that being a father is not about blood, but about the heart we decide to open. Paternal love, built with patience, dedication, and presence, can flourish in the most unexpected ways and create true families.